Thomas Kennedy.
Here.
Don Weinberg.
Here.
Richard Warren.
Here.
Joseph Logan.
Here.
David Nardillo.
Here.
Dean Wagner.
Here.
Richard Cribb.
Here.
Richard Alphen.
Here.
First item I have is I want to, congratulate members of the board or the council for reappointing members of the board, Dean, Richard, and Richard are back on, so congratulations. I move that we accept the minutes of the meeting of the November meeting as presented. No second?
Second.
Discussion?
I'm having a hard time with my arborvitae here. This was changed, well, Pat can, I think, confirm this and send something in, so this doesn't now reflect what the actual record is.
It does not reflect.
It does not. Number one is out, and in place, it says this Metro PSC will plant 8-foot tall arborvitae trees from the northeast corner of the lot to the driveway. That's what went to the people who, that's what went to
All right, we have a couple of continuances. I'm going to move that those in favor of the minutes as amended? Aye. Opposed? We have a couple of requests for continuances. One is the parent request. So I'll move that we continue the request of Michael and Elizabeth Parrott to the February 23, 2010 meeting. Do we have a second? Second. Those in favor? Aye. We have a request from Jason Vieira. So I'll move that we continue the request for a variance of Jason Vieira to the February 23rd, 2010 meeting. Second? Second. All right. Those in favor? Aye. Those are done. There are one correspondence, there's 2 items of correspondence relating to parents, so we'll continue that. There's 2 items of correspondence relating to the Petro Sinelli application, so we'll hold that for the time being. And the only matter to be heard would be the Petro Sinelli application, so are we ready to go on that?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All yours.
Couple of housekeeping items, Mr. Shannon. I have a letter from Kekin Shah, who I don't know. Kekin, Kekinshah. And I don't know if this found its way into the zoning record. Another email from Barbara Roberts, MD, who's both of them in the neighborhood, that I'd like to introduce.
Pat, any idea on these?
No, I get those.
So I'll put the other correspondence. You ready to proceed? Just explain your application and the grounds for it, and then we just go.
Okay. With regard to the application, I represent Arthur Paul Petrosinelli, who owns a property located at 30 Coulter Street, Jamestown, Rhode Island. The lot is 62.5 feet wide, and it is 347 feet. Varying to 409 feet deep because it is waterfront property and the distances vary. It is comprised of 25,000 square feet and is located in an R40 zone. Mr. Petrosinelli has owned this piece of property since July of 2009. This property had been improved with a single-family dwelling and a garage. The single-family dwelling burned to the ground whenever, a few years ago, I guess. And the garage to that property remains standing. Mr. Petrosinelli proposes to raise the garage, which is a current zone. It is currently in violation of the zoning code because it lies within the setback from Coulter Street. The property or the improvements that he intends to make on the property are entirely in compliance with the zoning code in terms of use. He's proposing a single-family home in compliance with the zoning code with regard to setback from the street, in compliance with the zoning code in terms of setback from the rear yard, is fully in compliance with CRMC setbacks. He's proposing to put this house 202 feet back from the coastal feature where 100 feet is required. The only relief he's requesting here arises out of the narrow width of the lot, which is 62.5 feet. The zoning code requires 20-foot setbacks. If you take 40 from 62, it leaves you with, what, 22 feet, which is too narrow to build a home. So he's proposing building this house 17.5 feet from the southerly boundary, and it is 17.5 feet to the fireplace, which sticks out 2 feet. The real house is, or the bulk of the house, or the main house, is really 19.5 feet from the southerly boundary line, which, as you know, is only a half a foot off of what the zoning code requires. This was done, that wasn't our original plan. It was done after negotiations with the southerly property owner, who was the evangelistic. After fairly extensive discussions and negotiations or whatever, we ended up with this dimension. We're also proposing that the northerly setback be 5 feet, where 20 feet is required. The 5 foot is, although that's a minimal distance from the northerly property line, it resulted from pushing the house north after negotiations with the evangelistas, but also relates to the fact that we've reached an agreement with the Attaways, who are the northerly abutters, which relates to preservation of their view corridor. If we were to comply with all of the zoning setbacks, we'd end up with what used to be called a shotgun house. It would be long and narrow, and if we did that, it would impact on the Attaways' view. So in order to preserve the Attaways' view, we truncated the house, the depth of the house, and ended up with something of a rectangle to basically accommodate the neighbors. And Mr. Murphy, who is here tonight, represents both the evangelistas and the Attaways. We're not reading a restriction into the record tonight with regard to this view corridor, because the agreement was just reached at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But he and I will cooperate to get that view restriction in final form and report. But it's not part of whatever decision you make here tonight. So that's the background for where we are at this point. And with that opening statement, I'd like to introduce the testimony of Mr. Peterson.
Yes, please.
Arthur Paul Peterson.
Mr. Peterson, where do you live?
28 Woodland Road, North Situate.
And I can call you Arthur?
Okay.
Okay. And what is your profession?
I am the principal at Hope High School in Florida.
Okay, and how long have you been principal?
At Hope, I've been principal for 5 years.
Okay. And do you own the lot which is the subject of this petition?
I did.
And how long have you owned it?
Since July.
Of last year?
Last year.
Okay. Now, do you live with your mother?
My mother lives with me and my aunt lives with me.
Okay, and how old is your mother and your aunt?
My mother is 83 and my aunt is 80.
Okay. And are you proposing to build this house, which is the subject of this petition in Jamestown, and live in that house with your mother and your aunt?
I am.
Okay. And are there any special requirements with your mother and your aunt that you attempted to accommodate with regard to entrance into this property?
My mother has a damaged femoral nerve from a bad hip surgery, and she walks with a cane. And obviously she's 83 years old. My aunt is 80. So what I try to do is accommodate the least amount of steps as possible. So what we try to do is design a house that will be so-called elderly friendly and limit the amount of steps going right in from the driveway to the garage to the first floor.
Okay. So is the house designed in such a way that you can drive in off of Colton Street, across your driveway and into your garage?
Yes.
And then there is one step up into the house, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the house is a 3-bedroom home, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how many bedrooms?